In this video, we're going to learn how to fix a few common texture-related errors in Trainz a New Era. First, let's see what these errors are. Oh, there's a lot of them for this one. Okay, all of these say that it failed to open some sort of texture. So what we have to do is find the problem texture. To do that, you have to right-click on it. Oh wait, but first we're going to fix this one, because this one's easier. This one has a missing dependency. I actually have another video that I made in the past about how to find missing dependencies in this game, and I'll put a link to that in the description. Sadly, the Trainz kuid index wasn't able to find the missing dependency, so we're going to have to replace it with something else. But first we need to figure out what's missing from the train. Right-click on the object and then click Open, Edit in Explorer, and then double-click on the config file, which is the file that has all the information on the locomotive or train car or whatever. Now, right now I'm trying to figure out what is missing. It looks like what's missing is a Pantograph because it has the same kuid number as the thing that was unable to be found. So we have to replace this Pantograph with a different one. By the way, I made a horn for that locomotive, and I'll put a link to that in the description. I also made a horn and engine sound for this locomotive, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Okay, this is the Pantograph I'm going to use. Basically, what you have to do is write down the kuid number so that you'll be able to type it in the config file of the train that you're going to put it on. And in case you're wondering why I chose this Pantograph specifically, I usually just use one that's from the same country because most of the time it'll fit on the train that way. Okay, we're going to edit this train car again, this time to replace the Pantograph. We're going to double click the config file, and then where it says Pantograph, there's going to be a kuid number. That's the kuid number of the Pantograph it's referencing. That one is missing though, so we have to replace it with the Pantograph that I showed you earlier. So I'm going to type down the kuid number of that Pantograph instead, and it'll use that one instead of the one that it was using earlier. And the missing dependency error should go away. Also, you have to delete the kuid number from the kuid table so that it doesn't still think that it needs that one. And then just Control S to save it and exit out of everything. Then right click on it and click Submit Edits. Now there's still one error with this one, and we have to fix that one as well. Okay, now we're going to edit this again to get rid of the missing shadow.texture error. And that should be in the shadow folder. So just double click that to enter the folder. Now, I'm not going to waste any time with this one. We know shadows are black, so I'm just going to copy this black.tga file, which we know is working. Then I'm going to paste it here. To copy it, right click on it and then select copy. And to paste it, right click on any area inside this folder and click paste. Ooh, I clicked paste shortcut by accident. That's not going to work. I have to delete that and try again. Click on it to rename it and name it shadow. Then go to shadow.texture, and where it says primary equals shadow.tga, title equals st, nothing has to be changed. It'll just use the file that we just created instead. And now it says it's modified and there are no errors in it. Now let's see if it's going to appear in the game. And there you have it. This train car is now working. This is what happens when you try to preview something that doesn't work, and it can be really annoying. I mean, I hope the developers of this game realize that when you buy a game, you don't really expect to be spending half of your time fixing all the things that don't work in it. This one is missing the same dependency as the other one we just fixed, so I'm going to skip this process since I just showed you how to fix that. This one has texture errors just like the other one, so we're going to try to fix those as well. Okay, it's saying that some textures could not be loaded. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to one of the ones that are fixed and see if I can't copy the working textures from that train car onto the faulty one, because it's saying that some of them are missing. It looks like some of them do exist, so I'm going to go ahead and copy those onto the other train car. I'm going to click copy. I'm going to minimize that, then edit the faulty one, and then just paste them there. Now let's see what the problem is, if any. Gonna submit the edits. Now there's only one texture error, the shadow texture. And we already found out how to fix that. Just open it. Open it in Explorer. Go to the shadow folder. And then just copy the black texture, the black.tga, and then paste it. Then rename the copy to shadow. And that's all there is to it. And now this one is fixed. There's two more left to fix, I believe. 2 or 3. And this is what it looks like now. Okay, so the locomotive has a lot of missing textures. I'm going to open it in Content Creator Plus. First I'm going to fix this one because that's the easiest one to do. Copy the black texture, rename the copy to shadow. And that solves the shadow.tga file being missing. Oh, it also doesn't have the texture.txt file for it, so you have to create a new .text file and call it shadow.texture. Then double click that and then just type primary equals shadow.tga. And then press enter. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my footage, but it's supposed to say primary equals shadow.tga and tile equals st. And that's basically what it's supposed to look like. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. There are a lot of textures missing from this locomotive. But before I fix them, I had to undo all the things that I tried to do to it that didn't work, so that we can figure out how to fix it the way it was originally downloaded. Okay, to fix the back.tga texture isn't working error, I'm going to get a random texture, just in this case the color black, and then just save that. Then I'm going to place it in the locomotive and tell it to use that file instead. So I'm going to open it in Explorer. First I'm going to copy the file that I downloaded. I probably should have used the color white since it says the back of the train, but I decided to use black instead. Anyway, I'm going to paste it here. Then I'm going to rename it back, and then I'm going to right click on it and open it in Paint in order to resize it to a manageable format. Okay, now I'm going to change it to a power of 2 because it only works if it's a power of 2. So I'm going to change it to 1024 by 1024 and click OK. Then I'm going to press Ctrl S to save it and exit out of it. Then I'm going to go to the back.texture file and then change TGA to JPG. And hopefully that should fix the back.texture not working error. It's still saying back.texture didn't work. What? I'm not sure what's going on. This locomotive is giving me a lot of trouble. Let's see. Unable to load primary back.tga for texture files. Okay. I don't understand. I told it to use the JPG file instead, and it's still telling me that the TGA file isn't working. It shouldn't matter if the TGA file is working if I tell you not to use it in the first place. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Okay. I'm not even really sure what I'm doing right now. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I probably didn't name the texture correctly. Oh yeah, it was saying series. I think the texture that was missing was called series 700 back.tga or something. Okay, yeah, so that was a problem. I misread the error. Okay, so that should fix the back.texture not working. Okay, and that did. And now it's saying that a few other textures are still not working. Unable to load primary image, yada yada yada, door01.tga. Okay, so I'm missing the door texture. So to fix that, I'm going to have to get a texture of the door. First of all, let's edit this in Explorer and go to the body file. The texture doesn't exist, it looks like. So I'm going to have to make one from scratch. To make a door texture, I'm going to go to Google Images and search Shinkansen 700 door. And hopefully I can find a picture of just the door of the train car. Looks like there are quite a few of them. Basically, I'm just going to edit that picture in order to create the texture that I need. So I'm going to click on this one, right click it, and click Save Image As. And I'm just going to call it Shinkansen 700 door and save it. Okay, now I'm going to open the GNU image manipulation program, or GIMP, in order to edit the file that I just downloaded. It takes a little while to load up sometimes. And there it is. There are probably other softwares you could use to do this, but I prefer using GIMP because I'm used to it. So I'm going to click on File and click Open. And then I'm going to look for the location where I saved the picture. Then I'm going to click on the picture that I saved earlier. Then I'm going to click Open. Now I'm putting it in full screen so it's easier to see what I'm doing. I'm going to click, first of all, I'm going to click on the crop tool in order to get rid of all the unwanted parts of the picture. Then I'm going to use the perspective tool to basically stretch out the image so that the door takes up the entire area. This usually takes a little while, but it's relatively easy to do. It takes a little bit of trial and error sometimes. Now I'm going to use the crop tool again to get rid of the excess. And I'm going to use the perspective tool again to perfect this. And now once again I'm going to use the crop tool to get rid of the excess. Now I'm going to click File and click Export As. I'm going to export it as a JPG file. And then replace the original, of course, and then click Export. And now it's ready to be added to the locomotive. Okay, now I'm going to go to the thumbnail folder where I saved the texture. I'm going to right click on it and click copy. Then I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to keep the texture there just in case I need to copy it again for another train car that's missing it. Now I'm renaming it series _ 700 _ door _ 01. And then I'm going to go to the .texture file. Wait, first I have to resize this. I almost forgot. It has to be a power of 2. So I'm going to make that 60 by 128. A power of 2 basically means 2 can be divided into it. Okay, now I'm going to go to the .texture file. And where it says TGA, just replace that with JPG. I usually use JPG files because they give me a lot less trouble. And it's so difficult to find a program that can open a TGA file or edit one. Okay, anyway, submit changes. And now one less texture is missing. Now let's see what's left. Unable to load, let's see, series 700 texture 01.tga. I'm not sure what texture that's supposed to be, so I'm just going to guess that that's the texture of the body of the locomotive. So we're going to basically do it exactly what we did when we created the last texture for the door. This time I'm just going to look for the series 700. Looking for a picture of the locomotive from the side that we can use. Okay, I'm going to skip the process of editing the texture since I just showed you how to do it and it would just be redundant. Just know that I'm basically just using the side of the locomotive. Okay, so this is the finished product. So I'm going to export this. I don't think I'll be needing that for a while. Anyway, I'm going to open this in Explorer again. Go to the body folder and copy and paste the file that I just edited. And then I have to resize it. But first I have to replace TGA with JPG so it'll use the file that I created instead of the one that was missing. Actually, there's no particular order in which you have to do this. Okay, time to resize it. 1024 by 256. And then press Ctrl S to save it and then exit out of Paint. Now let's see if that fixes that error. Yep, the amount of missing textures are going down now. Oh yeah, I still have to figure out what the next error is. So I'm going to click View Errors and Warnings again. Okay, let's see. top01.tga. Okay, so the roofing texture is missing. The roof of the Shinkansen is kind of a grayish, brownish color. I'm probably not going to find any good pictures of the roof. But from what I can see, it's kind of a grayish brownish color. So all I really need is to look for a grayish brownish texture and then make a texture of that. So I'm going to click brown gray. Did I use the American or the British spelling of gray? Okay, gonna click Save Image As. Then I'm just gonna I'm gonna name it Series 700 Top 01. And I don't have to do anything to this texture besides resize it, which is very good because it means it's a lot less work for me. Okay, so I'm going to open it, show in Explorer. Then I'm going to go to the folder where I saved the brown gray texture. Oh wait, I just realized this is a PNG file. The game cannot open PNG files, so it has to be converted to a JPG file instead. Luckily, the GNU image manipulation program can do that. All I have to do is open the file, which I just moved to the desktop. So I'm going to open it. Then I'm going to click File and click Export As, and then I'm going to change the name to .jpg, and it's going to export it as a JPG file instead. Then I just click Export. And then just move the texture I created back to the folder. Right click on it and click copy. And then paste it here. Okay, now it's a JPG file, and that should fix that problem. Now I'm going to open it with Paint again, and then I'm going to resize it. In this case, I'll probably just make it 512 by 512. And then Control S to save it. And then exit out of it. Then go to the .texture file and replace TGA with JPG. And then save that and exit out of that. And then right click on it and click Submit Edits and see. Okay, there are only 2 errors now. We're making some progress. Now let's see what the next error is. Please be something simple. Okay, so the Windows logo texture, it's faulty. Gonna have to make that from scratch, I believe. So I'm going to go on Google Images again, which is where I get all of my textures. Gonna type Shinkansen 700 Windows texture or logo and hope that I find what I'm looking for. I think it's this logo with the orange circle around it. So I'm just gonna save that. Save image as, and then just click save. Actually, it's a good idea to rename it first so that you won't have to rename it when you paste it into the folder. So I'm going to name it Shinkansen 700 Windows Logo 01, and then save it. Okay, now let's open it in Explorer again. Okay, copy the file and then paste it here. Oh, looks like I might have named it wrong. It's supposed to be Windows Logo, not Windows Logo 01. Misnaming the texture could create other problems, so make sure it's the correct name. There are some other textures, there's like 1 or 2 more textures that I'm missing. So after this, we'll still have a little bit of work to do. Oh, I misnamed it. It's supposed to be Series 700 Windows Logo Texture, not JPG. Okay, so I'm gonna open it in. I'm gonna open the .text file and can change TGA with JPG. Same as always. I might also have to resize the texture. Oh yeah. Let's see. Windows logo texture. Replace that with JPG as well. We don't have. I don't think we have the Windows logo texture alpha.bmp. So we're probably going to replace that as well. Okay, so Windows. Yeah, I'm just going to change that to JPG. Okay, let's save that and see what's left to fix. Still 2 errors. Let's see what those errors are. Oh, I forgot to convert the file I just copied to a power of 2. It's not going to load the texture file unless it's a power of 2. So, right click on it. Same as always. Open it with Paint. And then click Resize. And under Pixels, I'm going to make this 512 by 256. And then Control S to save it and exit out of it. Now let's see what errors we have. Okay, there's only 1 error left. Wow, we're almost finished with this. Let's see what the error is. Okay, Series 700 Windows logo texture alpha.jpg. Oh, yeah, I need to make a new file for that. I'm not really sure what an alpha texture is or if it's important. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the Windows logo texture I made earlier and then paste it here. And then rename this one Series 700 Windows logo texture alpha. And that should fix that problem. Now let's submit it. And it's no longer faulty. It now works in Trainz New Era. By the way, these fixes that I'm doing should also work in Trainz 12. Trainz New Era is even stricter than Trainz 12. So if it works in Trainz New Era, chances are it'll work in Trainz 12. Wow, that looks really good, actually. We're not done yet, though. We still have 1 or 2 others to fix. These both are missing the same missing dependency that we described earlier, the Pantograph. I already know that they're both missing the Pantograph, so I'm going to replace that with a Pantograph that's already in the game. It doesn't even really have an animated Pantograph, though, so I don't really see the purpose of the Pantograph. I also already know that they're missing the shadow.tga file. Chances are, when you download something from one person and it's faulty, other similar items that they made are faulty for the same reason. So I always look for similar errors first. Okay, so body01.texture.txt. Okay, let's see. Series 700 E body. Okay. Okay, so if texture file is missing, but only 1. So I'm going to make a new texture for the side of the train car. Earlier I made one for the side of the locomotive, but this one I need the side of the train car. Okay, I don't know why, but I lost the footage where I actually made the texture for the side of the train car. But the picture that you see in the background towards the left, that's the picture that I used. I managed to find a picture of just the side of the train car. And all I really had to do was crop the image to get rid of the background. Anyway, this one is also faulty for the same reasons as the last one. It's missing the pantograph. So I'm going to obviously replace that with the kuid number of the one that I downloaded from the download station, just to make that error go away. The train will probably work without that pantograph, but just to be sure, I'm going to replace it anyway. And get rid of it in the kuid table so it will stop referencing it. And then, of course, look for the shadow texture. It's probably missing. Okay, same as always, copy the black.tga file and paste it there. And then rename the copy shadow. Now, let's see if that fixes anything. Okay, there are still 2 errors. There are 2 things that are missing. Okay, let's see. Body Series 700 sticker B TGA. Not really sure what it could be looking for as far as stickers are concerned. Let's see if we can look for another train card that we fixed and see if the texture that we're looking for is in that folder. Then we can just copy it to the other one. Okay, well, it has sticker E. Okay, I'm guessing that's what it's looking for, something similar to that. Okay, I'm just going to copy sticker E from this one and paste it in this one. Then I'm going to rename it sticker B. And that should fix that problem. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Sticker B series, sticker B alpha. Okay, sticker B alpha is still missing. Okay, so I'm just going to copy sticker B from that train car, paste it here, and then name it Series 700 sticker B alpha. And then replace BMP with TGA. Okay, it's no longer faulty. Now this one also works. Now let's preview it. Okay, it looks just fine. Okay, this part is actually optional, but I created a horn for the Shinkansen 700 series. I'll put a link in the description so that you can have an idea of what it sounds like. And I'm gonna teach you how to edit the Shinkansen in Trainz New Era and add the horn that I created. Someone else also created an engine sound for it, so that's also something to consider adding. Here's the horn I made. I also made a horn for the E4 and E5 series, and a horn for the 500 series, the Dr. Yellow, and the 700 series. I'll put a link to those in the description as well. In the future, I do plan on making a horn for the 0 series as well. I also made horns for other Japanese train cars that you're interested, such as the JRH HOT7000 series. I'll put a link to that one in the description as well. This is the engine sound that someone made for the 700 series. The kuid number is really important for editing the trains in this game, so you might want to write them down. And this is the horn I made as well. Now right-click on the train you want to edit and click Open Show in Explorer. Then go to the config file and double-click it to open it. This file basically tells the game what this train is and all the systems that it uses, and basically how it's scripted. So here's where the engine sound is located. Right now it's using the electric engine sound which comes with the game. I personally don't like that sound. I prefer using a more prototypical sound. So I'm going to type the kuid number of the engine sound that someone else made for the 700 series. The same engine sound I use for all my 700 series right now. And then for the horn right now I think is the default horn which comes with the game, which again I don't like. So I'm using a horn that I created for the Shinkansen 700 series. And then when you're finished, just exit out of everything and then right click on it and click Submit Edits. And it's modified now, and it's using the horn and engine sound I created.